I went so mad and I was puking and I was holding my bucket and I didn't know what was reality anymore.
You're in?
I went in with intention of, we wrote down a lot of intentions, but I think it was receiving my mom money, like chaos communication. So what it first it came on very fast, and then it was no fractals anymore. It was basically pure images, pictures, which was very clear and a lot of colors. So it first was very green, and then I saw this what do you call them, slot machines, and it was like 100 or 1,000, and it was like dollars, and it's spinning, and it was just like pure abundance. And it was like in a video game where like, oh, you asked for money and now like here you go. And then I was like, oh wow, it sounds fun. I was like, not bad at all. And it kept on showing me that for a little while, but then it went into this kind of like systematic programming where it was like new pathways were being made, and it was like he went like this, like very mechanical basically. It did something with my mind and it reprogrammed me on this like level that I can't understand, and it showed me it flows where how money flows. Like, oh, you want to receive
like a stream.
no, yeah, like streams of like showed me how energy of money flows, and you need to tap into these flows of money, and you can either try to do your own thing or you can accept that life has its own way to create these flows of money. So if you want that, you need to tap into it and put your mind aside and like, yeah, maybe you want to do something, but that is not a stream, so there is no, you can't make money from it. And then I had this, kept on going for a while, and it went more crazy and more crazy and more crazy. I felt like I lost my mind.
Do you want me to remind you of things?
Yeah, sure.
You said this thing about like how you have in the stream, how you realize that you have to make people rich in order to become rich.
Yeah, so to become rich, you need to do something that makes other people rich. It's just like that is coherent. Otherwise, there has to be something inside of what you're doing that serving other people.
You said everybody's there to serve you, but
Yeah.
you are there to serve.
Exactly, I'm there to serve them, but at the same time they serve me. And it basically told me that like I can direct my, I can make money from anywhere, but at the same time I need to tap into streams. So like crypto is a stream, stocks is a stream, some sort of e-commerce are streams, but like sometimes it's called trends, but it's actually flows, rivers of energy, and that's our trends. Something comes and everyone wants it, and it flows a lot of money, and then it stops, and then it flows and it stops, and then you need to tap into the stream, and it works for a while, everyone buys, but then it stops. And it's just how the life works.
It told you about Patreon as well.
Yeah, and
Just before you go into chaos, I thought you might want to conclude money.
yeah, and then it showed me that when you try to sell something, and if that sales thing is not tapping into one of these flows, you can try to sell that for as long as you want, but you will never really succeed. Maybe you get one customer here and there, but if you want the real like growth, you need to change your product so the product is actually serving the customer and making the customer rich. Like, we're all here for abundance basically. So, and if that doesn't happen, you will always struggle. Like, it won't be
Flow.
no. Yeah, when it was doing this thing, it wants more and more. There was multiple things happening at the same time. So it was also, what was also happening was that I was like in this thing where there was chaos in my life, and it basically put me to more chaos and more chaos and more chaos and more chaos, where I didn't really know what time it was, where I was, who I was, wherever I was going in life, or I didn't know anything. It was completely deprogrammed me from everything that I told to be true about how you do things, especially it showed me like uh, holidays, with like holidays and Christmas and all of this. Like it's basically we just randomly made up that to make people uh, get stuck in living in the past, actually doing the same thing over and over every time.
Oh yeah, you said this really deep thing about um how like we're now in a new era,
Yeah,
and so trying to do the same things is just like living
in the
in the
past.
past,
Yeah, so like we
and how
all
every day is changing. It was really deep. This you said last night.
we're always moving in. A new day comes and we move into a new where we never been before, basically. And what happens is that what used to work before is not working anymore because we're in a place where we haven't been before. So how can you expect that old things are gonna work? Um, that's where you need. It showed me that I need to do the things that no one doing. Like that's actually is evolution, where you always innovate the new thing. Like you implement the new things that you're getting channeled to do. Uh, and it showed me about banks, that banks are cutting their own flows of money. They're actually strangling themselves because they have served a purpose the last 200 years, and now it's moving into a new paradigm where we are not going to use banks in the same way. It's gonna be banks, but it's gonna be different types of banks, and we're gonna be using crypto, which is more like alive by itself, and it's not controlled by anyone or any other people. And either you tap into this new where all of this crypto stuff, or you kind of like live stuck in your past, and you basically gonna die out. So that's why we see all of these banks crashing, because there's like they're not supposed to exist in the same way in the future as they are right now. And
You talked about this thing about forget having to how when you have a child you have to forget everything that you thought.
yeah, what I saw the deprogramming was that it showed me how to have kids and how to raise kids and what to do with them and how to behave and all of these things, what you're supposed to do. It's all basically programming, and if you're in that system, that programming, you're gonna be one of the pack. But like it showed me that I need to let go of all the beliefs and ideas of what I have about raising a child and what to do with it, because we're moving into this new paradigm, a new earth, where this new children is gonna be like something completely
Awake.
different. Yeah, they're like born awake, basically. And then you can't put them in an indoctrination of society that's been going on for a very very long time. This like old way of making people do things that someone wants them to do, so they can control. It's just like a completely new way of living life, and like it doesn't matter where they're born. It doesn't matter where they like. It's just I went so insanely mad by because it destructed all of these things, and I didn't know what was real. Or I actually had periods where like I was thinking about death, and I was having a death, and this death was like shit. Nothing matters anymore, and I don't have to be on this planet, and like that doesn't matter. And he talked about death and how uh, we've been even programmed to think that death is a bad thing, but just death is just the process of birth, and without birth there is no death, and no death there is no birth. Like they come.
It was a leaf. Yeah, you talked about this the Swedish man in the gang.
Yeah, like yeah, there was I saw that there was a Swedish man that was out walking with his child, and he got shot in his head by a gang member for just confronting them, and now everyone's like, oh, that's so bad, we have to.
It was a tragedy.
It's such a tragedy.
He died so young.
Yeah, and like the father didn't do anything, but it's actually like this man, even if it's hard to believe for a lot of people, like he chose to exit this way, like fast, like here, it's very fast in the mind. He could have been shot in the leg or multiple times in the body and suffer, and like maybe survive from it and have that experience, but this man chose to like exit by one quick thing, and it's probably serving something that we can't understand yet. um, so it talked about, and I went so mad, and I was puking, and I was holding my bucket, and I didn't know what was reality anymore, and the only thing I could feel was like, okay, I'm holding the bucket, that is real. That's the only thing that I know is like I'm holding on to it, and I was puking, and then laying down, puking, laying, and I stayed there, and it just went more and more crazy, and I was like, I didn't know what to do, and I basically kind of like panicked in a way, but inside of me, and it went really fast, and then all of a sudden, I I disappear. I feels like I disappear, and I don't really remember, but I think I let go of the resistance of even trying to fight this thing of what is real or not real or anything like that, and then I puked all over myself without even knowing that I puked all over myself, because I blacked out, but at the same time passed out. And at that moment, it turned, it switched, and the pain and the confusion and everything was kind of like gone. And I went back, and it went better and better. So it was like peak, 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 such, not pain, but like such a confusion. And then it went better and better. And then in the end, it was all fine. There was no problem. But in the moment, like, that was the wildest thing that I ever done in my whole life. But I can also see how it deprogrammed me, because this receiving with the chaos, and like I needed to pee. I felt this like urge down at my right. Yeah, I needed to pee, and then I was like, how am I gonna find to the toilet, because it was all pitch black. We can't forget that it's like it's all pitch black in there. You don't see anything. It's middle of the night, and it's just so black. And then you're on this thing, and you don't see really. I walked to the toilet, and I managed to get there, and I peed, and because I was scared to pee myself actually. And then I was on my way back, and then I was slung back to a memory as a child where I was lost on a ferry with my father, and I went to the, yeah, exactly. I went to the toilet when I was young also. That's why I was like, I left my father to go to the toilet, and then when I left the toilet, I was lost. I didn't know where my father was, and I completely panicked. I was like, this kind of like, where is he? Like, I'm gonna die thing. So I experienced the same thing now, and then I was looking for my place, and I could, now as older, I could kind of like, okay, Michael, you're gonna make sure, you're gonna come through this, no problem, no, like, you're gonna find your way back. Like, I don't even know where I'm at. Am I on the left side or the right side or up or down? I don't fucking know. And then after some time looking, I was almost at my spot. Then one of the helpers came and like, oh, do you need your seat? And I was like, yeah, I needed some help here. So I got to my seat, and I got to sit down, and I got this immense feeling. It told me basically that you will always find what you want, because that thing also wants you. So even if you feel like you're lost, you're never lost, because there's always something or someone there to support you. And you never have to be scared of that. And I think I went through this trauma as a child, and I was like 4 years old. And I also think that was when I went up to the toilet, there was also like, okay, I'm gonna lead myself to the toilet. It's time I relearn to lead myself, and to lead in a different way, where I always find whatever I want, basically. Because I had this thing where like, oh, I can't make plans, and I can't do this, and blah blah blah. Well, it's a part of that kind of like confusion that happened as a child. And then after this purge, because I was puking, it went easier and easier and easier. And after that, it just went down and down and down and down in intensity. And I actually felt that I can kind of like, oh, I can open my eyes and look again, and I can see like, oh, I'm here. Because before that, I didn't even know where I was, and it was super intense. Yeah, he talked about a home where like you can have your home anywhere you want. It doesn't really matter. It's always here and now. Like, there's never any later. It showed me that like your own, like you're living right now. And when you go from one place to the other, like that other thing does not exist anymore. It only exists when you're like when you're there it exists, but it doesn't exist otherwise. It's just nothing else exists. Yeah, it's strange, but that's what it showed me. uh
No, it's not strange.
and also that I can basically create anything that I want, and actually by really focusing on something, uh it's where I it's where I create. It's like I am I am supposed to just be super focused on one thing and put that thing um into earth. I'm supposed to,
Be a dick.
yeah, I'm supposed to do the things that no one thinks about, and I already done it. And even when it comes with payments, I already done that because I
Yeah, you were talking about with the phones and
yeah,
how, like, it's about timing too.
yeah. So I was really early with repairing phones and also using Cell. That's what they use in America, but Swish in Sweden. It's like mobile payment basically with an app. And I was really early with it, and everyone said, "No, what is that? It's dangerous. It's scammy." Blah 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 blah. And then after a year or something, because I only had that payment in cash, and then everyone wanted it. So it was like that went in stages. First they ridicule you, and then they accept you, and then they praise you. So it goes in stages. And then I was a genius. First I went from being nuts and like, no, you can't do it, to like, oh, I'm. So it showed me that I always have to do that thing, and it's always about timing. And like I need to be able to time the market, where I read in like when is this thing coming, and like following what my body says basically. Then it's gonna lead me exactly to these moments, and really do what I believe in. Yeah, that's it. Told me also like really implement the things that I believe in. And if I'm not believing in it, I have to be really clear that this is not what I believe in. And because people have all of these different ideas about something, but like what I need to be super firm in what I think. Just as I was firm with like I'm gonna use Swish, that's my payment method, and cash, and boom, all of a sudden a whole world opened up, and it was just amazing. But what if I would listen to everyone else? Like, no, you can't use this. It's not safe. Blah blah blah. It will be a totally different outcome. So it really showed me that I need to be really firm, and you really speak that, like dare to speak it to people with certainty. Like, this is how it is. I don't care what you think. I think this, and I'm gonna do it. Basically, and then if they don't like it, they can go, or they can, I don't know, kick me out or whatever. It doesn't matter. I can't be fearful of people rejecting me in my certainty in what I believe to be true and what I think Earth is moving, basically. So there's so much that is possible now in this new Earth that has not been possible in the past. We're gonna be creating from this space where we're gonna implement things that the Earth hasn't seen. When it went down, it kept on coming things. So I was just enjoying it coming more and more information, and I was back, but I just kept on coming, and then it went from 5 o'clock to like 9. The ceremony was over, but then we were back at our room at 12. Perfect. Now we can let this go and then go into the next. That's in an hour.
No time like the present.
Oh,
There's only now, right?
only now.
Yeah, okay.